Hey guys, happy after Thanksgiving. Um, so families. It's actually really interesting that this question came up this week, or just recently, because I've been kind of already thinking a lot about families. I don't know what it was, but for some reason I got it in my head that I really wanted to map out my family tree within like the last week or two. So I was actually doing that today. Again, like completely unrelated. It totally crossed my like. I forgot that this was the topic for the week, and I was doing this anyway. Um, I actually asked about it, and uh, my mom dug up these old family trees that like were from when me and my brother were in like um, we're in like elementary school. We had to make them, and then like I'm charting it out just because I want to know where I come from. I feel like that's really interesting. Um, I really like knowing what goes into not just me but just people in general. Like I love researching um, cultures and nationalities, and a lot of us here in the U.S. are just a mix of all kinds of different stuff. I think that's really cool, and I love to know what that is. Actually, here, and then here's another family tree. This is actually the longest. This is, I think, part of. I had to do a project in high school with some genealogy. This one actually is maps back to 1691. Um, my one relative came over from Switzerland to the U.S. in sometime in the early in 1727, and he was born in 1691. So that's like really cool. That's awesome. And so like I would love to know. I would love to chart my genealogy back as far as I can and know exactly where I come from. Because I think knowing where you come from helps you better understand yourself, and you feel more connected to a lot of different things and to other people. One of the coolest things I remember when I had to do a genealogy project in high school, I actually found out I was related to a guy in my class distantly. Like we had the same like this guy, the guy who came over in the 1700s, is in both of our families. But obviously it's been hundreds of years, so it really split off. But that was really cool. Like, and if you think about it, very distantly, almost what like we're all related at some level. Most of it's for most of us it's very very far in the past, but for some of us it's not that many generations back, and that's kind of crazy. But that's really cool, and I love that. I love that idea that we're all connected, and we are. And in a way, if you're human, you're family, which is kind of silly, but it's true. Where the whole species is kind of one big family. It's this big tree of life, um, and I love that. I love it. So this is, I'm gonna try and chart my genealogy just as much as I can. I think I know my dad told me once that my paternal line, like father to father, the records were lost in a fire during the Civil War. So I actually may never know what happened with that or where I come from with that. My name, my last name is Ferguson, so it's a Scottish name. So I can only assume that that line goes back to Scotland somewhere. Um, but I'll try and find out. We'll see. So that's my extended family. That's way into the past, and I think that idea of that sense of identity is great. As far as my immediate family, um, I have two brothers. Both are younger, and that's it. No sisters. I really wish I would have had a sister. That's something that I kind of have always wanted, but didn't get. Um, So yeah, that's cool. It's interesting because almost all of my cousins, first cousins, are female, all but one, which is kind of weird, um, but cool too. So it kind of makes up a little bit for not having sisters, but not really. My dad had two siblings, and my mom had one. So I don't have a ton of first cousins. I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Um, but it's cool. I'm the third oldest of all of them. My dad's brothers kids are both older than me, and both are married, and one is going to be having a kid. So that's kind of weird too. That's surreal for me. For the most part, I get along with everyone in my family, which is great. Um, Actually, my dad's side of the family has a reunion every year. A lot of our roots, his side goes back to Tennessee in the South, um, and they've been there for a while. I don't know how long they've been there, but I guess the Scottish part of their family found themselves there at some point. And like I say, like it's distantly, distantly related from Scotland. Like no, there's no one I know in my family that actually came over from Scotland recently or has an accent or anything like that. But just that's what I can assume. Um, but yeah, we have this reunion every year, and I've been going to it pretty much every year I've been alive, which is it's just cool. It's interesting to see everyone that you're related to there. I don't, one of the things that would always happen would be that like I get there and you'd see people and be like, oh yeah, I recognize your face, but I can't remember who you are, or how I'm related to you, or stuff like that. Because it's that's what happens. You can only keep track of so many people. But I've always had a sense of family from that too. Um, my mother's side, not as much, but little bits and pieces. Um, my mom's dad was also from the Tennessee area. So kind of when we go down there, we used to visit both sides, some of them. Like my grandfather's sister, but she's dead. She's deceased. Actually, I think everyone in his family, his nuclear family, is deceased now. Like other than his wife and his kids. Um, so yeah. So to me, I mean, when I think of family, I define it pretty much as just blood family. That's the way I think about it. I don't really, I guess, talk about it a ton. Um, I mean, I guess I think about it, but I don't really like, as Robin was saying, that the their family kind of thing doesn't really cross my mind a lot. Um, I don't know. I mean, I definitely can say that there are people in my life that are not related to me that feel like family. I mean, Neil, you said how, your mom, even, in the early days when we were first getting to know each other, your mom would always joke about how she liked Big Mike more than you, and then she liked me more than you. So we were kind of like, you know, part of the family in that respect. And so like I get that, and I understand the whole friends can be family thing, and I definitely, I've definitely been there, but I don't know. I don't usually think of it that way. Um, but yeah, um, I feel like this is really like rambling and bad. Yeah, I don't know what else to talk about. What else to say about family? It's great to it's great if you get along with your family. Um, a lot of families don't. A lot of families have issues. I've been very blessed to not have that actually. Like I said, for the most part, we all get along. Um, there's really no like there are minor things here and there. They're minor kind of like you can kind of I don't know. It's not that anything's really wrong. It's just there's little things, but there's nothing major. There's no like feud type stuff or the severe black sheep or certain people don't talk to each other. At least not right now. I know that in my dad's father's family there was stuff like that. The family that's from the Tennessee area. Certain of the siblings definitely had fallings out, and this is back in the middle of the 20th century. Like in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, in the 60s. So I remember there were like some of my great aunts wouldn't talk to each other. I didn't know about this when I was growing up, but only recently I found out. So like they're funny stories from my family, and my great aunt, who was this kind of awesome matriarchal keeper of all the tales of the family for years and years and years, just died this past year at 96 or 7 or 8 or I don't know. She was pretty old, but she could always talk about all these different things about the family, and she had all these records of the family and stuff. And but she would tell like crazy stories about what they did back in the backwoods and in the day. Um, yeah, I think it's cool to and it's cool to find that stuff out. Um, So yeah, that's about it. So that wraps up another week, and we will see you next week with a new question. Who knows what it could be? Bye.